Today we go to war, at least in the stock market. Now, I think when you read business people, especially the older ones, they'll like to cite things like Sun Tzu's Art of War as a way to understand business, to deal with competitors, things like that, strategy. And so while I think you cannot fully incorporate war principles into stock investing because sometimes war is very a zero sum, right? It's I win, you lose. I do think there's a lot of win-win, and also, war is always assumes like there's some sort of fixed pie, and everybody's fighting over a fixed pie. Whereas in business and the stock market, the pie can keep growing, right? That's it. Especially if you want to gain more market share, you want to learn how to predict certain outcomes. I think war is incredibly useful as a way to understand the stock market. So today we're going to share with you how we understand war, or rather the stock market, using some of these war principles. So the first one would be emperor, and here we start with the person running the company. Right? He is like
The CEO.
the CEO. And so how do we actually judge either an emperor and a CEO? I think the very basic one would be he must want to lead. He must have an interest to lead.
Yes.
I think this one is quite maybe a controversial point. Some people say that the best leaders are one that don't want to be leaders.
Okay.
But I would say in this case, it's more to lead the company, or in this case, the country or the army or whatever, into some sort of good outcome for everybody. So I think that is like the baseline.
Yes, exactly. So if you don't have like a leader who is like motivated, right, or you just sit all day in his palace and just eating or drinking, obviously your people will also think that this is a very bad leader to follow, and hence you need to have some sort of interest, and you need to have, like, in terms of business, right, you need to have some sort of stake in the game or skin in the game, so that you will be more motivated to actually run the company. The second one is structuring compensation.
Yeah, incentives. Manga always said, show me the incentives and I'll show you the outcome. So this is very, very crucial. In business, one example that comes to mind would be Les Schwab in the US, where basically he says he wants to not think so much about the nitty gritty of running a particular store. So he basically tells the person working in the store, hey, you actually own part of the store, right? So when someone owns part of his tire shop, then of course they're going to take care of it, right? And that's why they've, I think Charlie Munger praises him quite a lot, right?
Correct.
And in the case of like war, in this case, the picture here is actually Augustus Caesar in Rome. They actually have a huge army. And Rome's superpower was not that they were smarter than everybody else or they got better engineering. They do, but it's because of their ability to replenish their army. So if you defeat them, they can raise an army of 50,000, you kill all of them, and then they'll be back with a new 50,000. How are they able to do that? I'm not sure if you're aware of this. Is they will actually go to one area that is not Rome, right? If you think about it, Rome is a very small place.
Yeah.
How did they, own such a big part of the known world at the time? They'll go to a new area, let's say Spain or whatever. So they will take over that area, and they will need to raise new armies to go to new areas, right? So what they will tell, let's say in this case, the Spanish people or Hispanian area is, now you're under us, right? You are not a Roman. Romans get all these benefits, ABC, right? If you don't have these benefits, you're basically life sucks for you. But if you have an able-bodied son, or if you yourself are able-bodied, and you don't want to pay taxes, you must join the Roman army. For 25 years, you will get your Roman citizenship. It's a good deal. You don't have to pay taxes, but you have to give up 25 years of your life fighting in the battlefield.
It's usually those that actually gave them, they take good care of their well-being, whether is it, so for instance, like real life case study, I just read this book, Intelligent in Fanatics. It's related to Marks and Spencer. So if you know that it's a kind of like a very premium shop right now. You can go to like any shop, Sunway Pyramid, there's one also. So what did Marks, which is Simon Marks, did for the company was that not only he just paid them well, he also give them like health insurance benefits, low cost one. They also give them like a dining area for them to eat, because they notice that his workers are actually like working very late hours, attending to their customers' needs. And then you realize like, wow, my workers are the best. Then okay lah, they also need to eat. They cannot be working all the time. So they purposely renovated like a small space inside the store, one of like an unseen area lah. And then there's like a dining area where they can actually eat, and then they also can buy food at a very cheaper price. And on top of that, he also like offers some sort of retirement fund, which back then, right, in the 90s, right, there's no such company that will purposely do some sort of retirement fund for their own employees one. So he really did take very good care about his employees. And then he's basically, right, he no need to hire a lot of employees. He just need to have just these few small little community, like let's say like 2,000 with him. They start with him for like very, very long years. Even those that retired, right, they still are getting the retirement fund from Marks and Spencer, like for whatever expenses that they need. Yeah, so this is like a very remarkable story. You don't need to like spend a lot of cost. It boosts your productivity. So this is very important. You want to increase productivity level in your company, so that they can churn out more output. Then number two, also you don't want to keep on recruiting new people, because that will incur like hiring costs. So it also is gonna take up time. So those are kind of like a benefit if you are giving the right incentive to the right people. Okay, so then we also talk about allocating resources, food tools. Obviously, you cannot be giving like not so nutrient, right? If let's say you feed them, if you're on an army that is strong, healthy, and it's motivated, you need to keep them well fed. You need to make sure that they can function properly. So that's very important. You need to have the enough food, like especially during winter. So like winter is a harsh weather. I mean, it's hard for you to like harvest crops and whatsoever. So you need those kind of things to keep them warm, to keep them energetic, so that they can like continue to work. So yeah, this is actually very, very applicable to the current real world as well. Last but not least, search for opponent's weakness. So this is more towards M&A. Like if let's say you found out that during a breach or whatsoever, you found out your competitor is actually not surviving. So how you can actually help them in a way is actually to acquire them, so that you can keep their operations running. And you can only acquire them if you have enough resources. Yeah. So that's why it's very important, whether is it during war times or during current time, business times, it is to always have sufficient resources so that you can actually seize whatever opportunity that is on site. It's simple as that. So that's the emperor. Okay, next we'll be looking at the army. So if you don't know, the armies are like your employees, management team, your employees. So just now we mentioned about well-fed and healthy. Obviously, armies that go to war, you don't want them to be, those that have like sickness.
That's right.
Very easily. So you need them to be healthy. Obviously, food also is another thing that's very important. Water, clean food, good water, all those kind of things. Number two, obviously, you have to keep them motivated. Same for army, same for the employees. If you are motivated, they are most likely will be like working as hard as they can for the company. And also, they were basically like very happy kind of like armies, like you can say. And the third one is fight for the companies, fight for the countries or for the company. So this is more towards the vision. So if you have a good employees or good armies, they are motivated, right? Most of the time, they were actually willing to sacrifice themselves for the benefit of the company or the country. So this is also another very important thing, whether they shared the same vision as the founders or not, or the emperor. Last but not least, you also don't want to be the ancient Persian empire. So what's this is basically Charlie Munger shared about this. When the messenger actually reported bad news to the ancient Persian empire, like the emperor, he straight away like killed him on the spot.
Yeah.
So yeah, you don't want to be that kind of person where you cannot accept bad news. So these are also related to the emperor. They have to be more open. Whatever bad things, they just accept it and then just solve the problem on the spot. And also so that your armies also won't be so scared to report like whatever things that is actually dire for the country. So yeah, that's the 4 key points for armies. Okay, next, resources. Obviously you need to have sufficient food, water, and also heat for the bad times. So in the case for real business is that. So and also during recession. So let's say in a recession, you have to pay your suppliers, you have to pay your debt, you pay your maybe sometimes you have to refund back some of your customers. So how do you manage to do all of this is when you have sufficient capital in your bank balance, which is during like bad times. So only companies that have a lot of cash on hand are the one that will likely to survive post market crash. So this one is very evident in the glove industry. Like you can see the big four, Hatalega and also Kosan. These two companies, initially they rip up a lot of cash during the height of COVID-19. They have like 2 billion in cash, 1 to 2 billion. Yeah. Then until today, they still can survive. They are surviving with their net cash. Of course, their operations are actually like kind of like bleeding, right? And they can still do that even though like smaller companies are struggling, right? It's because of their cash on hand. So that's why it's very important for you to have these kind of resources during bad times. And number two, if you have sufficient resources, obviously you can take care of your armies and suppliers. And if you take good care of your armies and your suppliers, most likely they'll be very grateful for you. And
right.
with grateful armies, obviously they will do whatever.
Well, you know, the thing is, especially the part about winters and supplies and all that, is why this is important is because you have to assume it will happen.
Yes.
Yes, so you should operate. And I think the way to go about it is, if you are doing well, you have to prepare for bad times. In other words, you can't pretty much spend all your resources in good times. And when you're doing bad, because you've done well in the past and you've not spent all your resources, therefore, when you're doing bad, you are able to withstand. But more importantly, prepare yourself for summer.
Yes, correct. So this is also very evident if, let's say, a person who won a lottery, right? Yeah, I mean, those are good times when you hit the jackpot. But what happens is post-jackpot. Are you going to splurge a lot? Or are you going to be preparing some money just in case in the future where something bad just happens, right? So you need to be prepared your resources. Okay, the third one is territory expansion. So these are during war times. You know, when times are tough, when some countries, like let's say they have a lot of resources, right? And that's the best time to actually acquire, whether is it competitors or other nations, during war times. So to give you, for example, like the glove example again, actually Hatalega, they can acquire other glove companies if they want to, but they don't want to because probably their operations are not up to their standard. That's why they got like a specific quality or like manufacturing style that they want that others don't have. So if you want to continue to expand, that's actually the best time to actually conquer when others couldn't. Okay, last one is basically scout for cheap and also abundant raw materials. So if you have the money, obviously you can spend a lot of your resources into searching what things that is on the cheap side. Then you can lower your cost of production. Yeah, it's as simple as that. Because if countries that don't have enough resources or companies that don't have, they won't be able to have the ability to scout for other stuff to lower their cost of production. They'll be like figuring out ways to actually make more sales and whatnot. So yeah, this one is just the 4 key points on resources. And last but not least, we have Moat. So obviously Moat, you want to build a foundation or an indestructible base for a very long time. And Moat, in current sense, is basically how can you actually prevent your competitors from actually stealing market share away from your business. So Moat, I mean, we talk a lot about this in our SIB course already. Right. We share with you guys what are the types of moats. But essentially, you just need to study the company long enough to discover what makes their customer so sticky. That even though they increase prices year on year, they are still there.
Either increase prices or if someone comes up with an alternative, they still stick to it.
Correct. So to give you an example, See's Candy is a prime example. Like Buffett, when he did some sort of like price adjustment every single year, like 10%, way above the 3% inflation, right? People still continue to buy. The number didn't drop. Volume per sold is still like the same. Then he increased another 10% the next year, still the same. So that kind of tells you like there is some sort of like strong moat for See's Candy. Then the next one, obviously, you also need to have a wide distribution of network. This one is obviously, if let's say you want to get access to certain suppliers or to customers, right? The proximity, you want to be as close to them so that you can get the best quality at a faster time and potentially lower logistic costs. So companies that have a wide distribution network tend to actually survive the longest because of all of these good supply chain that they have on their hand. Now, last but not least is if you have a good moat, it's actually quite evident that your enemies or your allies will be respecting you a lot.
Yeah,
It's
I think Charlie Munger has this like trick, right? He tells CEOs, he says that if you couldn't run your business for the next 10 years and you had to hide on an island or something, and you took all your money, which of your competitors will you put money with?
Yeah, that's a one way to actually, assuming you meeting management, right? You can ask them which enemies are they are more fearful of. This basically tells you more on the brand name or the branding of the particular company. So yeah, those are the 4 key points on how do you actually analyze a company using a war methodology. And assuming you apply whatever we shared, you definitely will find companies that can grow multi-bagger for many years to come. So yeah, this is actually just a chart, one of the companies that we shared. If you want to know what multi-bagger companies do we have inside FirePro, is inside the portfolios. You can check it out, getting the 30% discount coupon in the description and comments. And also, just to tell you guys, whatever we shared just now on the war methodology is actually what we taught inside SIB, Stock Investing Blueprint.
And recently we had a refresh, totally new materials. And the price will actually be going up to $297 on the 21st. So if you want to take advantage of the old price, which is 247 USD, plus the usual 50% discounts that we give, please do it before the 21st. What's inside, as Jonathan mentioned, it's you learn how to find moats. It's a 5-step process. Step 1 is why you should invest in stocks. Step 2 is how do you discover some of the stocks that you can consider. Step 3, and of course, to ignore and to avoid bad stocks as well. Step 3 would be timing, when to go in and out of a stock. Step 4 would be how to manage your portfolio of stocks, especially when one stock becomes a lot bigger than the other in your portfolio. How do you do? How do you go about that? And then step 5 is case studies and how to start your journey if you haven't already started, or perhaps you've already started but you've missed out on a few steps. So if you're interested in growing your knowledge base, learning how to invest confidently, then Stock Investing Blueprint works for you.
Yep. And on top of that, we have a 30% discount for FirePro at the moment, and it's ending on the 19th of May 2025, 11:59 p.m. Okay, so take note of this date. If you are interested with FirePro, make sure to get this at this price. Don't buy it at the original price because it's at a discounted price now. And also, if you are curious on what is FirePro about? Well, it's basically a platform where we share our analysis on companies. We do like a very, very simple write-ups. It just takes you like probably less than 15 minutes per write-up. And currently we have more than 81 write-ups. So you can actually access our archives and also whatever management briefing that we did. That we meet CEOs or whether is it certain private investors, we share everything inside FirePro. It's basically like a library of information. And on top of that, you also can join our exclusive Telegram group. So inside a Telegram group, there's a lot of...
It's also a library, but
more people library. And also, these people are expertise in their own certain niche of industry. So some of them, they are working in the plastic packaging. Some of them working in the mushroom. Some of them working in the, IT space. There's a ton of people that is inside over there. So if you want to get information on the ground, you also can get it inside our Telegram group. And so there's a lot more benefits that we didn't share. You can check it out in the description and comments. But just to share, this is basically our performance for each of the portfolio. And if you are a dividend lover, make sure to check out the boring portfolio. The dividend yield, average dividend yield for our boring portfolio is about 6.76%, higher than the EPF 6.3% at the moment. And if you want to get a taste, you want to see how we do our write-ups, it will be inside the free sample. The links also will be in the description and comments down below. And just to share with you guys, this is actually one of the free sample write-ups that we are putting inside the free sample. It's one of them is Delium, and we also got share like when did we bought it and when did we sold it to our FirePro members, and some of them actually did manage to profit as well. So all of those discounted stuff are in the
mega
description.
Discounts.
For the time being until 19th of May. So make sure to check it out over there. That's it. See you guys in the next video.